Hanger. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with the weekly news and review for November 1st of 2020. I hope everybody had a great Halloween, whatever you're doing. Here in Oklahoma, we had a wonderful turnout. It was a lot of fun. I hope everybody had as much fun as we did. Hope everybody was safe. Let's get into all this fun news. First off, I want to start by talking about a couple of things at Show Z. With this clear Superion, this figure is only $440. That sounds like a lot, but I didn't realize that the other sites are putting them up for almost $600. It's like $580. So way cheaper if you go through Show Z. I'm hoping that when you check out, there'll be a way to have the free shipping also. I'm not 100% sure on that because they're showing kind of a high shipping. So anyway, if this is something you want, you might want to get it pre-ordered. And Shozy also has pre-orders up for the Defensor from the MMC. So if you want to get on that, you might want to start pre-ordering those so that you could get on this Defensor. If that's the route that you're going to go. Now, there's no price, and it's $1 down per figure. So $5 down to get you the combiner to get a slot for sure, if that's the way you want to go. So the first thing I want to talk about is not really actual news. It's rumors from you guys, or information from you guys, about this trailer. Now, we have heard that X-Transbots is redesigning their trailer. We know the trailer is going to have some sort of a battle station to it, which I feel is completely unnecessary because I'll never use it in this mode. But I guess it's okay. Makes me wonder how much price or cost is going to add to this. But what I'm hearing is that they're making it bigger. This figure was going to be about 19 inches, which isn't really that small, but it is a little bit smaller than the new scale, and I'm understanding it's going to be up to over 20, so they're adding an inch, and it's taking this long to add an inch. I believe it's more than just that, so I'm hearing they're just making it taller, but I do believe there's got to be more to it than that, and what I really think it is DX9 came out with theirs. They got their hands on one, they got to kind of see what DX9 did, and they get the opportunity to one-up it. Now, that's kind of the feeling that I've had all along with what's going on with this race, and why they're holding all these parts and pieces and combining sequences to themselves, Fans Toys, DX9, and X-Transbots, because they're going to look at what was done before, redesign theirs, and make theirs the best, and that's what competition does. Next up, we have Toy World, and this is very interesting with this Jetfire. It's the TWFS-05 Skyburst, and it's a World War I battleship. It looks cool. It looks interesting. That looks a whole lot like the Jetfire that we saw in the movies. And this Jetfire, yes, it does turn into a battleship. Now, the alt mode is highly detailed. It looks really good. And this is kind of along the lines of what they're doing with some of the other things. They've kind of gone in their own direction in a way, and maybe it's for the better, maybe it's for the worse, but it is something that they're doing, and that's where Toy World's going. I have my own beliefs on why they're doing that, to avoid getting in trouble with the license owners, but again, that Jetfire does resemble the movie Jetfire, so they could get in hot water that way too. But what's really interesting is this is sort of kind of going back to the roots of what third party used to do. And this actually does combine with a mainline figure. So it's more like an upgrade kit for your Studio Series Optimus Prime. If I'm understanding this correctly, it's the information that I'm getting. That's not a masterpiece in there. That's the Studio Series. And so that's kind of cool. That was an interesting gimmick from the live action movies. And I thought it was pretty cool. So next up, we're getting a reissue of, yes, another X-Transbots reissue before we get all the figures that we really want. But we're getting another one of their Scourge, and the thing is, this is supposed to be getting all new head. So the new head that's going to go on it, it looks good. It looks really good. I don't think that the head that they had before was exactly bad, but this does look better. So what about people like me who have the original one? Do I get a new head? Do I get a face swap? Do I get something? Probably not. There's probably no way for me to get my hands on it. If there is, I would like to know if someone finds out, because I'd like to upgrade my head on mine. I don't plan on getting rid of mine, but yeah, a new head would be cool. And of course, the color scheme is staying the same, I believe, and it looks good. So we've got some color picks, which are creative color picks. These aren't official, I don't believe. But Moon Studio Radiotron just kind of gets you an idea what it's going to look like in color. All of this, of course, is just CAD designs. This is just computerized. It looks good. This is a cool look. If this is what it looks like when it's colored and it's done, that's going to be interesting. It's going to be nice. But you can kind of see all of the detail in this. More of the detail is picked out with all the different colors separating each of the pieces. And I think that's a lot more helpful and more visually stimulating and interesting to look at a picture such as this. Now, riding on the coattails of that, we've got the Dreamstar Toys, who put out an upgraded picture of their Superion. And this thing here, I think it's called the Encourager. And it looks good. It looks like it's got a shiny metallic finish, which is not what I expected of a Superion. So that's different, and that's surprising. And they're going for their own look. But at the end, you look at it and you say that does look a lot like Superion. So it's stylized. It definitely looks like Superion. It's kind of interesting. We're going to see where they go with this. We're going to see how this turns out. But this might be this company's first foray into it, or maybe these people split off from another company. Who knows? We may find out soon. Another really cool thing, this is from LEK Custom Toys. And I'm starting to wonder if these are even for sale, or if it's just like, hey, look what I did. But there's a Facebook, LEK Custom Toys. You just look that up and you can find a lot of work on this thing that's been going on. But this is a cell-shaded Zeta Unicron. I think it looks really cool. In fact, I thought it was like a fake or a CAD design, or are we getting a KO of this or something? And no, this is an actual one that's been just repainted. That looks awesome. Like, how much time, how much effort, how much detail went into this to make it look this good? I'm really impressed, and I'm just kind of wondering, what if they just made it like this? What if this was a production model? I mean, how much would it cost? But it looks so good. So we're starting to see the MP50 Tigatron show up, and seeing reviews about it. And I'm hearing that it's not as solid as we would like, and there's some issues with the transformation. That's what I'm hearing, but I still think it looks beautiful. It's a great looking figure. I don't know if I'm in on it though. I thought I was, but I'm not super deep into Beast Wars, and so I don't think I'm going to get every character, but it still looks good. I do appreciate the Beast Wars from the source material. Here's the box and the alt mode, and again, it does look really good. I like the way it looks. Both modes look pretty good. I just don't really know how you're going to make the alt mode not be super panely in a Beast Wars. The alt mode is going to suffer when the bot modes look super perfect, and they're not 100% shell formers. They're like 30% shell formers. But yeah, there it is, and I don't know if you're in on this or not, but these things are showing up, and everybody's able to get them now if you pre-order this thing. Now, I do want to talk quickly about this Make Toys Acid Storm, and I'm curious as to how many people are actually going to get this. So you can pre-order this right now. I know for sure at TF Source. I don't see it as Show Z at all, but it's going to be $150, and I don't think that's a horrible price. But the old price I got on my Starscream from Make Toys was $115. And so this is a $35 jump, kind of consistent with the rest of the companies. But we haven't seen anything from Make Toys, and now they're putting a whole lot on their plate and saying everything's coming starting in January. So we're going to see if this shows up, but does anybody want this? Does anyone need this? And will we still get it if they don't get enough pre-orders? So that's kind of a question that I have. I'm kind of curious about. I'm just really curious who all's in on this, who's getting it, and are you wanting to wait 7 years to get the Takara 3.0 version when they finally make it? Because I know they made one with the MP11 mold. Are they going to do the same with this new mold? Who knows? So before we get into Legends, we've got a Legends company making something that's kind of strange. This is the Magic Square MSG01 Peach Girl. There's her alt mode theoretically. I don't know much about this. I'm just now finding out about it. It's interesting. So I don't usually talk about the super deformed kind of concept of figures. It's really not my cup of tea. But the fact that it did, I think it transforms. I mean, I see a picture of it transforming or whatever, but Show Z doesn't show an alt mode, so that kind of confuses me. on this figure. But anyway, it's about 35 bucks if you're in on this thing. If you're in for this kind of stuff, then this might be for you. So Magic Square is making their space skimming dark or black mode. This one is basically Cyclonus recolored into black instead of purple. And I think that it looks good. Now, I've heard some negative stuff about this mold. I'm not going to lie, I've heard some negative things about the mold. I don't think it looks bad. I think the face is kind of rough. I mean, X-Transbots is upgrading their face. This thing needs a face upgrade more than X-Transbots does. But I think the rest of it, the whole silhouette, the look of it, is not bad at all. I think it's a good looking figure, and if you missed the first go around, get it in this recolor. And I'm kind of a fan of that. Like, let's put out the recolor and you could get something that looks pretty close to what you want. I know other people who have missed out would be like, no, just reissue it exactly the way it is. And it's like, yeah, I know, but that kind of gets old, and the people that already have that color, like, what's their interest in buying it? So that's kind of why we get a recolor, such as this. So they don't just keep making the exact figure over and over. I mean, they kind of wised up, and it'd be nice to have a few different colors on your shelf. Speaking of Magic Square, we're seeing more and more pictures of their deluxe painted. It's actually Metallic 2.0 Optimus Prime in the Legends scale. And I have to admit, when people are just taking their own pictures and put them on Weibo, and it looks this good, I mean, it looks great. I am feeling highly confident. I mean, I actually literally was putting this together, saw those pictures, I went and bought mine, paid for it, stopped putting my information together, my news together, to go buy this thing. It looks that amazing. I am very impressed with it. I really like what they're doing with it, and I hope they carry this into the Masterpiece line and make some Masterpiece figures that look this good. I mean, heck, they make them to look better. I mean, a Masterpiece one could look better than this. I'm really on board. Magic Square, do some stuff. And of course, you can't have Magic Square doing stuff without New Age doing stuff, and New Age is doing some crazy stuff. They got this Karate Kid version, this Karate Kid LaRusso multiverse of their Legendary Heroes version of their Soundwave. Now this just is crazy. I out of left field. I have no idea why they just come up with doing this kind of stuff, but it's cool. It is kind of cool looking. I mean, how many different things can you get out of a mold, and like what makes you decide to do this? But it's cool. And if you're in on this, you're in on this. You can also get different recolors of your cassettes. I mean, obviously you look at that cassette and you go, oh, well, you know, that definitely looks like Frenzy. I mean, no arguments here. That definitely looks like Frenzy. If that's how you want to dial out your set, and you can get a Frenzy that way. And kind of still in a third-party realm here, talking about better pictures that we're getting of this DWEO1. So this is a Doctor's Wu super micro version of Galvatron, and it looks good for as ridiculously small as this thing's going to be. And it's sort of one of those offshoots for to go with maybe next to a Unicron or something like that. You want to really make one of your big characters look even bigger and more massive, but it is transformable at that really, really small size. I mean, this is almost the world's smallest Transformer size. Slightly bigger than world's smallest Transformers line, but it's doing so much. They also have their DWEO2B, they call it the Monitor Officer. This is a Soundwave. It's more like a Sound Blaster because it looks like the paint scheme there. And there's just better pictures here. Look at this thing standing atop of the wonderful Scorponok, released by Hasbro recently. Looks really good, and look how tiny it is. I mean, just super tiny. And there it is in its alt mode. It does transform. And for being that small, the alt mode is super clean. Just surprisingly. I think that the bot mode kind of gave up a little bit. It's not as good as it could have been because they wanted both modes to look pretty decent. So I like that. So we got some mainline news here. We got the Galactic Odyssey Barricade in Punch Counterpunch 2-pack going on. This is going to be one of those Generation Selects boxes. It's going to be 40 bucks. Amazon exclusive, I believe, and I think you can go order it right now. The thing about this is it's a barricade, which is straight up a barricade coming out of the movie, but looking pretty G1. I like that, actually. But we're getting a kind of a way off-colored version of Punch Counterpunch. I don't know the history behind that, why it's the teal blue instead of the darker blue. I prefer the darker blue. But if you missed out, on the first run, and that thing's like pushing $100 now, $70 to $100 on eBay, then this is actually a pretty reasonable price for you to pick up that mold, which is a good mold. And I truly 100% believe for $40 people are going to be buying it just to get the punch counter punch, even though it's a little lighter blue, and I'm sure there's a reason for that. It's 2 figures in one, so you might want to get 2 sets, who knows, but it looks good. I've always liked this mold versus the fact that it's the best one we've got, and we haven't gotten a Masterpiece version yet. Come on, X-Transbots. So we've gotten more inbox images. The ones we got before that were inbox images were kind of like paired with a loose and kind of at strange angles. Straight on, head on, box images. I like it. Now looking at Grimlock here, again, I want to say Grimlock is a good looking figure coming in the Studio Series, the 1986 Studio Series. And the wheelie is going to be the best looking mainline wheelie out. I still don't think it holds a candle to Ollie. Yeah, I like Ollie, so there it is. Next, we have Scourge. Now, I just did a review talking about X-Transbot's recolored version of Scourge. The whole time I did that review, I was thinking, I like the Studio Series one, and I kind of can't wait to kind of do a comparison of the Studio Series to the X-Transbots one, because really that's the only Masterpiece one, and that's going to be kind of fun when all of this stuff starts hitting and we start doing reviews of these. I'm kind of excited for it. Looking at Hot Rod here, Hot Rod does look good. The best Hot Rod we've gotten will be like my 5th mainline Hot Rod aside from the G1. And yeah, I don't know why I have so many. I'm not happy about that, but I will be happy to get a better one. I don't know. It looks good. It looks really good. Blur. Now, Blur looks amazingly good the way they've packaged it. See, the biggest problem with this figure is his forearms and the back of his forearms, so the forearm backs. And it's very well hidden in the packaging. You won't notice this happy surprise until you open the package, you get it out, and he's got like double the forearms. You know, not double the fun, but double the forearms. But you can't see it in this packaging. Makes it look super amazing. I am actually really pleased on all these designs, and they're hiding the flaws in the packaging. And again, here's Cup. He's in his package, which looks great. I love it. I love this figure. This is the best mainline Cup, and he looks great. A lot of people say, well, his shoulders are too wide, they're just too big and bulky. Let's do this. This is the best looking version. The transformation will not be ridiculously complex like fans' toys. And it looks good. I'm sorry, but I could live with a little bit wider chest for a great transformation. And it still looks good. Best Cup in the main line. Again, we got this Jazz here, and you know, everybody was telling me that, I think it was Power of the Primes, that Jazz was just garbage. You know, I've got one. I never even opened it. I never even transformed it or flipped it around or anything. But everybody told me how bad it was. I watched a couple reviews, and then I started hearing a lot of people in the comment section, and I was like, yeah, I don't really want to mess with that thing, because I didn't really care for the look myself. And I was like, we're gonna get a better one, and here it is. This is really good, by the way. This thing looks great. And no, it's not perfect. Yes, a Masterpiece could be better. But for a mainline, for a relatively simple transformation, hopefully, it just looks so good in both modes. Now here's something that kind of surprised me, but I guess it really shouldn't. We are seeing a repackaging of the Earthrise RC into the Kingdom packaging, and it looks like she's packed with less of a backpack. So I'm guessing that stuff is pushed somewhere else in the packaging. It's a whole packaging shift and change on her. That's interesting that they did it that way. And she looks so much better. Frankly, the way they packaged her, she looks way better than she really is. She's a good figure. I don't think she's great. I don't think she's horrible. But this does make her look far better than she really is. Then we come to this thing, which is Ractonite, which I think is like armor, gun stuff that breaks into whatever, turns into a dinosaur and breaks into parts and pieces, I guess. I think that's what they're going with this. But anyway, there's the packaging for that. And we have more packaging shots of the elusive Thrust, and we're going to be trying to get this thing from Target. It's going to be tough. I know it is, but it is what it is. The back, there's the back. It looks good. And there is the alt mode. So we're starting to see Transformers Red figures show up around the country here in the US, some of it in Canada, and I don't know about everywhere else, but They are small, like everyone thought, and they have some good, some bad, some pluses, some minuses. I think that this is the first foray into this kind of figure. I'm wondering how long it'll be till we get more G1 characters to go with these three, because it looks like they're spinning off out of G1 into other realms with the upcoming wave. So who knows what we'll get in the future, if they're how far they're going to go with this. I'm really curious how everybody feels about this, but let me know in the comments below. And lastly, we've got this Shockwaves Lab upgrade kit for the Quintessons. You get 4 LEDs, so I guess you could light up every face. I guess that's how it goes. And you get the Quintesson journal and all of that. Here is what it looks like when you light up each face, which is cool. I like this kind of stuff. I don't know if I'm going to go all out. I mean, you're already spending 30 on this thing, and then like it's probably 20 or 30 bucks for an upgrade kit. So you're at 60 on this thing, and then for me, I'd rather have the lower part lighted up and make it taller. I've already invested in that, so I'm looking towards actually building this up. Looks pretty good though. This is a lot of fun. Depends on how you want to trick this thing out. Before you know it, you're at the same price. You're pushing the price of the X-Transbots one. So, getting into some Star Wars news this week, it seems that Season 2, Episode 1 has already launched. I've watched it. I enjoyed. I like the direction that this is going. It is a lot slower paced of a TV show than the movies, but the movies have their slow pacing at times. It seems like they drag out a sequence a little bit longer than they should, but it's all enjoyable. I enjoy the whole thing. I watch it with my family. It's great. Now, I do want to say our friends at the Jedi Temple Archives do reviews of this show, and if you want to watch it, again, I'm sure you're going to be full of spoilers there, but Episode 9, Chapter 9, The Marshal, is Season 2, Episode 1, and you can watch that now. So, with The Mandalorian airing, we're starting to see this Mandalorian. This is the, I think, credit collection is what they call this. And it's cool looking. It looks like the artwork you see at the end of the TV show, and it's cool, but really hard to get your hands on. Now, I will tell you that if you've been trying to pre-order this through Amazon as an exclusive, then you're going to see it sold out and sold out, sold out. Now it's actually in stock through the third-party vendors, but it's not 20 bucks anymore, 25. It was 25. Now it's like 45. I'll have a link down below if you want to snag it up while it's still 45. I don't know if they're going to get restocks on it. And which kind of concerns me because I want one, but I don't know if I'm in on the 45. But I kind of hope they do a restock eventually. Sticking with more of the Black Series news, we're starting to see the Walmart exclusives show up at Walmarts. Woo! Let me tell you how this went in my town. I saw them; it looked like a whole shelf of them, and I was like, "Cool! I can get me one of each." And then I got a couple of extras for my friends, and then I even called my friends and said, "Hey, they're here." And the very next day, actually I went back later on this evening to get something, and I just went and checked. Wiped out completely. Just wiped out. I couldn't believe it. I was like, man, this stuff got wiped out quick. But this is going to be in high demand. Hard to get. Every one of these figures. Every one of these figures in a wave. That's unprecedented for Hasbro to have any wave that gets wiped out 100%. We also have this company, GTP Toys and Collectibles, who's making a Tantive 4 display for your Black Series for the 6-inch figures or the 1/12. These display here, well, this looks a lot like what Hasbro's doing. I think it's a little bit more high-end, a little bit more premium, but I like the one Hasbro's doing. I like the look of it. I don't like the price of it. I'm going to play the game, the wait and see in the discount game on the Vintage Collection one. I'm not in on this because I don't open my Black Series figures, so I really... I don't care for these kinds of things for Black Series, but I think it's cool. I think it's great for those openers, the people that open their stuff and like to display it like that, and that's awesome for you. You might want to check into this thing. Next up, Vintage Collection. These are the carbonized figures for Walmart. Now, Walmart is a huge, huge player with these exclusives. If it wasn't for Walmart, I don't think they'd be made. I think a lot of people get mad about exclusives, including myself. If it wasn't for Walmart and Target, some of these figures might not get made right now. They might not go mainstream. I don't think they would do something like this, and it's a higher price point. These things are almost Black Series price for a 3 3/4 inch figure. They are a heavier card stock. The figures look a little bit better, I guess. I don't see them like bling blinging. Now I got two. I got the Mandalorian and Death Trooper. I didn't really care about the other ones. But do they command the $17 price point? I don't know. So we have our next two unlocks for the Razor Crest, and I will tell you something else about the Razor Crest coming up here in a little second. But the next unlock's at 15,000 for the Razor Crest, and when you unlock the Razor Crest 15,000, you get a stand. Makes me start to wonder, have they planned this stand all along, or are they going to actually have to modify the mold, the existing CAD design, the existing mold, to accommodate this stand? Because it looks like it actually plugs in. I don't know if the stand, well, no, maybe they don't, but it looks really good in this takeoff flight mode. I love this kind of stuff. Like, this would be the best way to display this thing, unless of course you have the hatches open to see what's going on inside, kind of like how most people display their sail barge. So at 17,000, you're going to unlock the off-world Jawa Elder. Now this is packed with a bunch of weapons. It is carded, so it's a second carded figure. I mean, this is really cool. That's 3 figures it's going to have at the 17,000 mark. I don't know if it's going to make 17,000. Frankly, I don't know if it's going to hit that. We've got 9 days, 8 days. It's a little over a week. We do see a huge pop at the end, usually about a couple thousand the last day. Is that going to be enough to put it over the edge? I probably should do another video, probably do an analysis of this. Yeah, maybe. And speaking of the Razor Crest, here is the Razor Crest painted. It looks really good. I like it. It's not quite back metallized, but it's still a nice shiny paint. So let me know what you think about this weekly news in review. What else is cool that's going on out there? Like and subscribe. Kadarium Hanger out.